Leading up to World Cup, my anxiety is higher than ever. I've never gone to an event this big, this unprepared. We've been putting in the extra hours, trying to make sure that the car is going to do what it's supposed to, but the reality is we really don't know what it's going to do or what it's really capable of. We've been struggling with it all season long, trying everything we can to get it to start to get. This year, we're in the stick class, which is much different than last year when we were in the Wild Street class. Being in the stick class means that we're in an unlimited class. What you brung is what you throw down, and if you're capable of getting to the finish before the next guy, that's what gets you on. Coming into trying to make this first pass, which is in reality a test pass to see if the car is capable of competing and really even justifying its presence at this event, the amount of disappointment is indescribable. I'm across the country with my team. I've spent a fortune, and I'm in front of all of my sponsors. We've tried everything. I have changed my ignition coils, I've changed my ignition coil plug wires, I've changed my head, I've changed my injectors. I have checked and gone through all of my wiring. What I think we're experiencing here is something that we've experienced in the past, and it ultimately comes down to the headwork. The valve stem tip height has not been trimmed properly, and after we go through a two-step scenario, the valve is stuck open because it's growing from the heat and expansion. The only way to compensate that while racing in the pits between rounds is by removing the lifter and shaving the lifter to offset for the height on the other side of the rocker. So forward probably needs to be shaved more, I'm guessing, because it's still not looking good. Number two, actually cylinder 2 is the worst right now out of all of them. Number 4 has improved a bit. It's closer to number 3. Man. We only wanted to shave the ones that showed signs of needing to be shaved. And the way we did that was by rotating the motor over and watching each individual lifter to see what kind of movement it had. If it had little or no movement, we knew that it was likely a culprit and marked it off with a permanent marker, then shaved once we removed it. Going into qualifier 1, again, my anxiety is still at its highest. We've shaved a few lifters in hopes of solving this problem, but I really have no idea what the car is going to do. I get up to the line and let it rip. After the first qualifier, I'm starting to feel pretty hopeless. I don't really know what to do at this point. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, but I'm running out of answers. The only thing I can do at this point is to pull the log and email it to Rick Nelson from Haltech to see if he can comb through it and find anything at all from the data. He does notice a couple of things. He asked me a few questions which I'm able to answer. I can't recall at the time now what exactly it was, but they were minor things. And ultimately, he recommends as a precautionary measure to hardwire the power that delivers the power to the coils straight to the battery, just to see if it'll mitigate this issue. Round 2 qualifier comes up. I'm trying to test it once again. Unfortunately, the car is still not behaving. So, luckily, at this point, the event is starting, and all of our resources are starting to show up. Haltech is on the property. We've got Josh, Rick, Mitch, everyone's on board. And although the car isn't behaving, I have a little bit of relief knowing that my team is here. With Rick now involved, he has full visibility and senses on the project. He's looking at the logs and immediately wants to see where the spark plugs are. We've got them laid out on the table. He literally looks at them, smells them, and within 15 minutes tells me he knows exactly what's wrong with the car. I about faint. This ends up being a much more simple fix than we could ever imagine. The cylinders that are going cold right after launch control. And it's not because likely that the valves are sticking open, it's because the fuel mixture is too rich. We're on a 50-50 mix of methanol M1 and 1 ethanol R. And if you're watching our episode from last season, you know that we were finding the limits of ethanol and simply mixing in methanol in order to get us through the rounds. So when the beginning of the season came around, I thought for sure we'd be getting rid of ethanol altogether. And I trusted that that was a good decision and something that was gonna work for us. But now at the end of the season, we were learning that that was ultimately a big mistake. My trusted resources collaborate, discuss mixtures and calculations. We make an educated decision on the changes that need to be made, and we put the car in the lanes. As soon as I launch the car in round 3 qualifier, the car actually comes alive out of the hole, and it catches me by surprise. And that's not the only thing that caught me by surprise during this pass.
Please clear the starting line. Need the starting line cleared, please.
As soon as the car catches me by surprise and is actually behaving like it's supposed to, I'm grabbing the next gear only to see the Mustang in the lane next to me having a catastrophic engine failure, causing him to come into my lane and me avoid him by only inches.
Gets down to the 8th mile, caught up in his own fluid, and is along for the ride. And I tell you what, great driving job there.
Wow.
I'm doing about 160 miles an hour, and I'm trying to influence the car to get around this other car while going over oil in hopes of not throwing myself into a spin myself. I have no idea how I got through that, but I am so thankful that it ended up the way that it did, because it could have been so much worse.
What a ride.
Nice driving.
Thanks, man.
Amazing.
Thanks for your help. That was just wild. It's been a wild day, I'll tell you. They say that drag racing is full of the highest highs and the lowest lows. Well, I'll tell you, they are not kidding.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. No doubt.
Yeah. What a day.
We're right on track. Let's go win this thing.
Yeah.
We're right on track.
I mean, it's kind of rite of passage, right?
Where'd you qualify?
Dude, I think I'm like 17th with an 11.0. But that was like an 8.5. I don't know. That's not going to count because I crossed the line before the finish.
Oh, dang.
But I have to go to figure out if that's like a rerun situation for me or what, because somebody had mentioned at like Rafe, he's like, dude, you need to go talk to the officials because when that happens, you get a rerun. So I might be able to get my 3rd qualifier redone.
That was qualifier 3.
Yeah.
There's 4 total.
Yeah, you may not get your 4th qualifier though because of the schedule.
You should definitely get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
To see the plugs?
No, we haven't gotten that far yet. Let's go ahead and pull them out.
Curious how warm they are. That's kind of what we're basing this on now.
And 1.
Yeah, these are clean. These are a nice, clean burn. We're burning some cadmium off now.
After the whole Mustang situation settled down, the following morning I went to race control and was given a rerun due to what happened. The rerun was worthless to us because the car didn't behave despite the changes we had already made. This left us with more changes to make going into round 1 eliminations, where we were paired up with Grubworm. Luckily for us though, Grubworm had been broken and gave us the bye run. It allowed us an opportunity to test the car one more time before going up against another competitor that could potentially eliminate us from the competition. We ended up sending it despite the bye run, and yet again, still didn't have a very clean pass. During round 2 eliminations, we were paired up against a Civic that had run a 7.4 earlier, and we knew that we had to beat them off the line in order to make it into the next round.
Job, you guys.
I know.
Fuck yeah. Good job, everybody.
Fortunately, when we saw the green light, we were gone. And I'm not sure what happened to the Civic, but he didn't even leave the line, giving us the win and moving on to round 3.
Come on, don't let it two-step for too long, like the least amount of time as possible.
So with Rick, Josh, Mitch, everyone from Haltech on board, we're pretty confident that the car is going to run clean the next pass. We're running a few tests, and through some recommendations and instructions, we're ready to go. During round 3 eliminations, we get paired up against Josh Tonsky with an absolute missile of a Mustang. This car runs basically in the 6-second zone.
That was tiny. That was tiny.
However, the car finally made its cleanest pass. Thanks to the Haltech team, we're back in the 7-second zone. We put down a 7.9 at over 190 miles an hour. I think I might be able to get confidence back in this thing next season.